When the sun sets, the undead awaken. To slake their hunger, they feed upon the herd of unaware mortals. Right beneath our noses, the kindred clash against their rivals as they vie for control of the city of San Francisco. Are you strong enough to cheat final death and see another night? Vampire the Masquerade rivals expandable card game from Renegade Game Studios.
Welcome, family, to Vampire Wednesdays. We've got some hot Season 0 action here. I am Matt Holland. I'm here with my coworker, Jimmy Lee. How are you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Jimmy is the associate producer of board and card games here at Renegade Games, and he's going to be helping me present a little bit of live gameplay from our Season 0 League. We've got almost 100 players still in this, all over the world, playing a game a week with some awesome prizes on the line. Just a nice way to start off some Vampire organized play. We've got 2 players tonight playing. We got Critical Mist from San Antonio, Texas. He's playing the Malkavian deck. And I believe going first, and Arcanist Colizella, that was it, from Tucson, Arizona, playing Baruha. And Jimmy, we just played this matchup very recently, didn't we?
Yes, we did. I believe it was best described as a bloodbath.
It turns out leaving yourself vulnerable to an attack by the Bruja player does not go well. That's on me. I should have known that. But that means we are a little bit more familiar with everything and the various pitfalls these guys might make. We can head over to the table and see what is going on, and we will give you guys kind of the play-by-play as these gentlemen play out their game. Both are currently undefeated. They won their first round game, so this is for the second win in this event for them. So the player on the left, that is Coley, and he is going. Yep. The icons on the screen are messing me up. Critical's going first as the Malkavian player. And a student and Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year, not really going to do much of anything because it shuffles burn fence back into the deck. None to do so.
That student there is a very spicy pickup, though, especially early on against the Malkavians, though.
Yeah, it just goes away. The city deck, I think, is an interesting little shake-up to this game because it can be so. It can just really make it hard to have a really strong game plan, which I think is really interesting and kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely something that you have to be prepared for and adapt to. Some decks are really going to thrive off of playing really effectively off of the city deck. And then some decks are going to really want to, well, for lack of a better term, build their plan completely around not having any of their city deck important cards come up. So you want to balance the two of those and in deck construction, and then figure out a strategy. I'm sure as more people play, they'll figure out the optimum strategy.
So the first play is a second Vampire. Smart move against Bruja here. Inmate 745943. And he's going to exhaust his leader.
All right. Starting with a conspiracy right away.
He is all about those conspiracies. 2 agenda points for every resolved one, plus the effect of the conspiracy. That's a pretty good deal.
Yep. That's a pretty solid start for him. I think that'll that really sets off the pace. Generally speaking, I think it is very hard to go wrong with playing your first or having your first play be another vampire on the board.
Especially facing Bruja.
Yes, especially against Bruja, where like if they came into a really lucky draw, they could hypothetically just one-shot you straight up in your haven, and that's just game turn 2.
Yes. And we did see some games of that in the league. Matt Hyrup, the designer of the game, popped into the Discord to give some strategy advice on how to prevent that. One of those things being play one or even two vampires your first turn. So same kind of play. The Cossack coming out for Bruja. She's another very scary physical attacker, especially with her ability to pay one blood. Next attack cannot be blocked.
Oof, yeah, that could be.
You gents need a city deck card. Thank you, chat. Ooh, and special affairs.
Oh, sad times for everyone.
Nobody's got the Vagrants handy to block that damage, but that's 2 agenda points up for grabs in the middle there. I think Cossack was just the first action. Jimmy, you played Bruja, correct?
Yes, I did.
I really enjoyed that playstyle Malkavian, but getting my leader put into torpor right at the beginning just was very hard to come back from.
I think that in a one-on-one situation where the Bruja really have a chance to like focus down on one target and just go, aggressively attack and keep his enemy players, vampires in torpor, and have a very single-minded strategy, it's really easy to pilot.
Sure.
At the same time, I think the impetus is suddenly on the other player to like just stay alive long enough to get their schemes going on, because it's a very one-dimensional strategy.
Hydra's stepping out. Student. SAD with 4 health usually needs some card play to. Ooh, spicy.
He's going into the Haven to go for the inmate. That's an interesting bold attack right away. So he's got a face down attack card there. He's got to find the intel for something.
Yeah, he's gonna discard. You have intel? He's got to discard a card to get that intel to go into the Haven. There we go.
There we go.
Face down attack card. The Malkavians have some really good defense, but one of them in particular requires obfuscation, which is that sort of blank looking discipline there on inmate. At least he has some. That could be helpful. I know I did not have any on the table and kept drawing that card. It was very sad.
All right, our reaction is down. Let's see what this could be. I mean, currently we're showing 2-2. And this is
Yep. So now we'll reveal the attack and reaction cards. Seduction. Seduction and Cloak of Shadows, that's the card I was talking about.
Oh, social attack, so therefore the Cloak of Shadows isn't going to work.
We just had a little minor rules kerfluffle. The Cloak of Shadows only blocks physical and ranged attacks, so it's going to have to be undefended. So Cully spends 1 blood with Hydra for his ability to draw an extra card.
And then that seduction, he could steal it right back. Let's see what he does. Oh. All right, so he's discarding for the Haven to boost up the damage.
And no social stat on inmate, so no defense there. It's going to go right through. Exactly. So a lot of times you
Ouch.
expect Hydra to come out with his physical damage because he's got 2, but nice play there, defying expectations and sneaking some damage through, leaving Arcanist with just 1.
Yeah, that's 3 damage done to the inmate, and Hydra comes back basically fully or at full health.
Yeah.
Sad is gonna deal some damage.
Yeah, and Sad did the damage to the Cossack, keeping Hydra full strength.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. Hydra's a little vulnerable out there. I don't know how bold the Malkavians are going to be to try and counterattack there. That'd be pretty ambitious.
The saying is everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And that definitely qualifies as a punch in the mouth. Ooh.
But oh boy, meeting at Alcatraz.
So not really affecting Hydra. He's already out here, but now Govna's coming out to the streets.
Everyone say hello to
Meeting
the
at
governor.
Alcatraz moves all the leaders out into the streets, and the active player doesn't get to go back. He stays out there. That was another thing that caused me problems in our game with these same decks. Left me exposed for a turn more than I thought. And as Coyote points out in the chat, it is a brutal card sometimes when facing Bruja. Brings out a 3rd Vampire. Velvet has a really nice ability that syncs with playing up those conspiracies. When you resolve a face down card outside of an attack, which is what a conspiracy would count as, you gain a prestige. So nice little economic engine there.
Yep. The key thing is just going to be protecting her and not letting her get pulled out into the streets. If you have a blocker or anything like that, she is a really powerful tool to keep alive.
Yeah.
She'll just keep on generating more resources for you.
I believe there are 2 sort of defense-minded vampires in that deck. He's gotten none of them so far. So that was the leader ability. Exhaust his leader, discard a card, and add from the general supply to his conspiracy. And I think he's going to resolve it for 2 points. And he's going to get another prestige. So he got 1 from the leader ability. Once for the general, you can just add 1 from your own pool. And that's enough to resolve it. Destroy the plans.
Ooh.
So Bruja's going to lose some options now. Bruja's going to go down to just 2 cards in hand, I believe. He used to choose, but that's not a lot of choices.
All right, and a nice early lead there. That was just turn 2. He's already popped 1 agenda, and then
Yeah.
gained 2 points there.
Did he get 2 prestige out of that? He should.
Yes, he's got 2.
Cool. 1 for agenda, 1 for Velvet. Really nice little synergy there. So that's a good start. Despite the damage taken to the inmate, I'd be real happy as a Malkavian player. Looks like he's gonna discard to heal inmate a little bit. So taking one more blood onto inmate by discarding a card in the Special Affairs division hits Velvet for 1.
Yep, sad times for Velvet, but
yes. Meeting at Alcatraz is no longer a thing. Now, can Bruja capitalize on Malkavian's leader being out there?
All right, let's see the city card first.
The Vagrant.
Ooh, a Vagrant. That is going to be very powerful. If he picks that up against the Special Affairs division, he'll be able to just negate the 1 damage every single turn.
There's the other prestige. He just remembered that Velvet has the ability as well. I just like how all the triggers in this deck, the Malkavian deck. So Caustic comes out to join Hydra. Vagrant, not worth any points, but a nice little meat shield. And if you're playing like Toreador, or I guess Toreador won't get a point from either, but there are certain cards that'll let you turn that into a point as well.
All right, Hydra swinging away. Is there going to be a reaction?
Now we know the reaction you tried to play earlier won't help here because that requires Obfuscate in the party, which the Governor doesn't have. It does work against physical attacks, but it's not going to give any bonus defense due to the disciplines here. So does he have another option? This is a physical attack from Hydra.
Ooh, yep. Critical mistake there. He should have moved up there.
So no reaction.
Ooh, a good old throat.
Oh, that's plus 2 damage. Oh.
And then.
Yeah. So 2 physical, 2 more from the disciplines, 1 from the skull, 5 damage. And he can boost it with his Haven if he needs to.
Yeah, that's just going to be a straight up one shot on the Governor there.
Yes. He discards, uses the Haven ability or the leader ability there to put the leader straight into torpor. That turns off the Haven leader ability for the Malkavian, which helps accelerate those conspiracies. Turns off the card draw for playing conspiracies. That's ouch.
Yep, his engine's going to be a real setback. For those of you watching, this is definitely why if you're sending your anyone out in the streets, send them as a party. It's safer in numbers.
Yeah, if you're going out, don't go out alone.
I know the meeting at Alcatraz kind of forced his hand there, but yeah, if you're willingly going out into the streets, don't go alone.
So the way to counter that potentially would have been to send inmate out there for one of his actions, just to have someone there to help and protect. And did not do that and paid the price. This is looking very familiar to our game, Jimmy.
Yep. There's a vampire in the Malkavian deck, which is really strong against the Alcatraz. It's I can't remember the name of him, but he is able to jump into the streets and block an attack.
The Street Preacher.
Yes, that's the guy.
Yeah, he has the ability to just jump out there and block an attack. So the Cossack did attack and kill the Vagrant. Took it as a retainer, so he's now going to be able to use that to absorb all the special affairs damage and just ignore that card. That'll just be added pressure on Malkavians.
Yep.
Back over to the Malkavians, a new city card. Really doesn't want that to be another special affairs, and it's not. It's an addict. So another agenda point up for grab, possibly. It's not one that's super worried about Brujah getting. It's not going to give them like more physical or anything.
Yep, and I don't think the icon particularly is super valuable to the Brujah player. So that's probably just going to sit out there unless someone needs a point to close out the game.
Yes. And really, like, Inmate would be well suited to taking out one of these cards, but with only 2 health, I don't want to send the Inmate into the streets.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There's, was it? How much life left? 3, 4, 5 total between the 2 Malkavian vampires.
Not a lot. The nice thing is that discarding 3 cards does make Coley have to think about the discard to get intel again more than they would otherwise need to. So that first one was a Velvet Exhausting to play Conspiracy. We don't know what that is. The Brujah are in the streets, but risky time to go after them there.
And even if you did go out there, I'm not sure you have enough. Yeah, not sure there's enough oomph for you to hit them with.
Yes.
You're definitely not. You'll hit them for what? Maybe 1 or 2, and then they'll just murder you right back. So.
Looks like Critical Mist is going to draw a card, get some more options, and go through the end of turn stuff. He needs those cards also if he wants to try and get them back up to health, because he's still getting pinged every turn for the SAD.
Yeah.
Man, I love that we just played these decks because, yeah, very similar. Hydra is just a real force. I think he's still considering the second action. Oh no, that was the SAD damage. Special affairs on the inmate, leaving him at just 1 health. Man.
Oh man.
He's only worth what, 4 blood, so it won't trigger an extra point for Bruja if they come into the Haven, mess him up. But
that's true. It's still 1 point just for getting it, and frankly, I think the important part is that it is pressure on
certainly
the Malkavian player to get his vampires back in play, because
yes.
Velvet is a juicy target when all alone.
The skateboarder comes up the city deck, so a lot of citizens out there, just what Toreador wants to see, but not well. Yeah, Malkavian didn't actually mend this turn because he was at 3 and 2, took the 1 SAD damage. So I didn't see if he spent a card, but there was no actual healing. So you think they're going to go for the inmate here? I feel like that's
either picking up the or just picking off the inmate because he's an easy target right now. He's got 3 cards in hand, so I mean it kind of sets him down on options later on.
That's fair.
I think an easy play is to just kill one of the mortals and get a victory point. I think the skateboarder is a really strong pick here. Bruja has a lot of interactions with the lightning bolt symbol. I can't remember the name of that discipline.
I think it's dominate, but someone will, I'm sure, tell me that I'm wrong. So we are seeing a physical attack against the inmate. Not gonna go well.
Celerity. Lightning bolt is the celerity.
Celerity.
Thank you, Awesome Coyote. Or Awesome is Coyote.
So he's got physical attack. It's by default 2 and can get boosted by 1 by discarding a card. He's only got 1 card left, but if it gets a kill.
And Hydra can also discard a card or lose a health to draw a card. So that does give him more options later down the road as well.
Yes. So this is going to be that Cloaked in Shadows that we saw earlier. Ooh.
Ooh.
So Sucker Punch allows him to retarget the attack. He's going to retarget Velvet. Four total, but he can boost it to 5.
Which is...
And then pitch 1.
Yep. That's the engine.
Oof. Yeah. This is going to be a short game, I think. Bruja doing absolute work. Getting those kills left and right. I mean, really, my second action is to send, if I have the card, send Cossack against the inmate, try and get the kill right here.
Yeah, I think that's the aggressive play if you really want to go for it. I'm not sure if we're going to have a defense to be able to survive a hit from, or literally 1 damage has to get through from
that's what I'm saying.
Cossack.
I mean, and I am the aggressive player. I always say, live fast, die young, leave a good-looking corpse.
You should maybe go with a different phrase.
Well, I've already failed at 2 out of the 3.
Wait, so you're like ancient. You're older than me, so
I'll let you
yeah.
guys decide which of the 2 or the 3 I failed at. So just picking what his second action is going to be. You can see he's mousing over inmate there. He's thinking
Yeah.
about it. This is the danger zone for Critical Mist here. Critical Mist doesn't have a lot of cards either. He's got 5.
5 in hand.
He's really only got, I think, 3
He's
cards
gonna-
that are going to be particularly useful here, other than maybe another Cloaked in Shadows. So he drew, you said?
Yeah, he's drawing.
So no second attack. Just the one.
Ooh.
One more agenda that turn for the kill on Velvet. So using the Vagrant to ignore the SAD damage, or SAD damage. We're going to get another city card here and see what Malkavian is going to do to reply here. Gallery opening. Well, not going to help Coley. Well, he's got some cards now. Got some options. You may discard up to 2 cards. For each you discard, you gain 1 prestige. Yeah, Bruja has been discarding for all these attacks into the Haven to get that necessary intel. Nothing on the table is giving them the intel they have to pay every time. And I suspect that's a contributing factor to why he didn't go for inmate last turn, just to save some options if there's a counterattack. So if you're Malkavian here, what do you do? He's got 5. Does he even have any vampires in hand? He should. He's got 3 cards left in the faction deck, so he should have 1 more vampire in hand.
Yeah, like you play that vampire if you've got it. Alternatively, if you've got any healing and can just speed up getting any of your guys out of torpor, that would be the play.
The problem that he's going to run into, the same problem I had, is that if you play another vampire, you don't have the prestige to put onto the conspiracy anymore. So your game state is going to be very difficult to advance.
His game state is already pretty fragile as it is. I think hanging on just a little bit longer is probably his best play, even if it like sets him back later. Either it ends next turn when Coley just goes ahead and unloads, or it'll go on maybe a couple more turns of just him slowly petering out.
Bruja has 9 prestige. So he elected probably to not play a vampire. He did add a prestige to this conspiracy. And did you draw a card for his other action, Jimmy?
I did not catch that.
I think so.
He was at...
Because he's already into mending here now. Now he's got to mend inmate, and he's going to die to the SAD. He is trying to mend additional mending onto Velvet, and getting pointed out that he can only do once per turn. So just a little. The thing is about the Season 0 League is basically everybody is still learning the game, and the whole point of this is to get people more comfortable, more familiar with the rules, so that when we get around to playing in person, we have a lot more people who are confident and know what they're doing. but I think he's going to have a problem when he takes the
Yeah.
SAD damage. Oh, he he realizes that
Yep.
not mending inmate there is the issue, and SAD pulls it out for Bruja. Oh man.
Oh man.
So we know that Bruja had both Sucker Punch and Coup de Grace in their
Yeah,
hand.
he could have just walked in there and then just murdered him.
There we go. And Coley says
Ouch.
basically that discard 3 saved him a whole turn and managed to drag it out. Let me just, I'm going to ask Critical Mist real quick a question. Jimmy, you can take over.
Yeah, so as we went through this game, it was very straightforward for the Bruja player. He just went for the throat every single time and just kept the pressure on. Yeah, Coley just went and every single chance that he got, took a big swing. The two critical junctures here, in my opinion, were the city deck coming up with Alcatraz and forcing the governor into the streets, leaving him as just ripe, easy, juicy pickings for the Bruja player to just give a 1-2 punch. And from there, your engine is kind of shut down. So it was really easy to just discard cards and head into the Malkavian Haven and start knocking people left and right. All right. So yeah, the last 2 cards that he had that showed there were a Sucker Punch and a Coup de Grace. So either way, like 1 or 2, even if he had 2 vampires or 2 wounded vampires in his haven, he was
Well, Coup de
basically
Grace
done
doesn't
for.
work against the vampire in the Haven. It's
Oh,
only
it
in the
doesn't.
streets. But the Sucker Punch, the additional damage from that was going to be enough to knock out inmate. Had he gotten another vampire in there, he might have been able to stick around. But as I'm sure we'll see in other games this league, especially in these early rounds when people are still learning, he just didn't do the math on. He could have mended the inmate and then survived at least one more turn. Probably still would have died to a very strong Bruja attack, but that happens. It's much like when we played. I stepped into the streets at the wrong time. I got my head torn off. And when you're playing against Bruja, you have to be very, very cognizant of the risks of going into the streets alone.
Yep. Again, one-on-one situation where the Bruja literally has all one or singular targets for him to just point all of his attack cards at. It's really, really important for you to just stay alive and for you to keep up healthy health pools on all of your vampires, as well as if you've got any reactions, just hold on to them. Just those are your lifeline. Don't
and this
discard
was
them, no matter what.
The conspiracy was all tied up, so he could have resolved it during his turn to exhaust his characters, but that doesn't really help unless you're going to act and capitalize on those characters being exhausted on this current turn.
Yep.
So I don't know that was a great investment of the prestige versus getting another vampire out there, but hey, it happens. People who are playing in the league, if you watch that, learn from this to really respect Bruja and be very careful about giving them a target they can focus their efforts on, because that'll lose you the game real quick. Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, though, the strength of Bruja in a one-on-one situation is kind of its weakness in a multiplayer game. If you're playing at a 3 or 4 player game, his effectiveness is going to go way down unless he's just trying to solo focus down one target, in which case the other players have more windows to try and react and mess up his plan.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about Rivals. You can play anywhere from one-on-one up to four-player. The rules are the same, and they work really nicely and scale very nicely. So this league, we're doing one-on-one just because scheduling with two people that are across time zones and everything is already enough of a challenge as it is. But when we get to see big events, they're going to be multiplayer games, and that's going to change the dynamic and the usefulness of some of the cards and some of the abilities quite a bit. So that was our round two game. Arcanist is going to go ahead and be still undefeated, 2-0. Critical Miss drops to 1-1, but still both are in the running for some pretty cool prizes: the acrylic agenda tokens and that really sweet deck box for the undefeateds. But thank you for watching, everybody. We stream every Wednesday Vampire content. We're going to try and have another game from the league streamed next week. We're going to have some good coverage of statistics and some of the other things that we've seen over the league, sometime after that. So make sure you're tuning in and watching that. If you're into Vampire Rivals, if you haven't seen the prizes for this, head to vampirecardgame.com. See the post on there with the deck box and the agenda tokens. If you're not signed up, you can't get them, but you can at least see what some of the stuff we'll have for the prize pool for organized play events in the future might be. We stream Mondays for More Phenomenal Mondays. We stream Wednesdays for Vampire, and we stream Fridays for the Renegade Society radio show. So join us for any of that to cover all the cool stuff that Renegade Games are doing. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining me.
Matt
We're gonna have to
Holland,
get some more
it is
Vampire
always
in
a pleasure.
ourselves.
Yeah, I'm real excited to play this game a whole lot more. I think, frankly, especially when we're able to sit down and have four people at a table and frankly just trash talk each other while one of us getting like beat up left and right. I'm down for that. Sounds like a good time.
Yes, I am very excited for that. Everyone, thanks for tuning in and watching and seeing Brewhot rip some throats here. Have an excellent night.